Shir Klali with Rav Gafni, Parshas VeYechi. Hatashin Sonic Test.
I'm sorry, nobody's allowed to leave now. Everybody does call Ela Lucha. Try to go and we get this in the Shurim. So once you just got to learn to sit on the spot.
I just want to check more.
I can't hear what you're saying. Right, so we're turning to chapter Mem Tes. Where are you coming from now, from house? Huh? You're not allowed to go to the dorms. I'm sorry. You're not allowed to go to the dorms only at night time. Right? The dormitories are only for the night. Is that clear to you? Okay. Right, so we're turning to chapter Mem Tes, Pasuk Aleph. But this is after Yankee Avinu, it's already called Yosef, Tzaddik in to see him, and he's announced that he's about to pass away, at least Begoli from the world, and he blessed the sons of Yosef, etc. And now we find that Vayikra Yankiv El Bonov, that Yankiv called to his sons. That means all of them. Up to now, he was only talking with Yosef, Tzaddik, and his two sons. And now he's called to all of his sons. Vayikra Yankiv El Bonov, Vayemer Heyosfu, V'yagidu Lechem, gather together or form an assembly from Lashon HaSifar. V'agidu lechem, and I will tell you, I'll inform you, Eish asher yikro eschem v'achris hayomim, and I'll inform you what's going to happen to you, literally, b'achris hayomim, in the, what you might call the finality of days, or the end of all days. He kovtzu, gather together, form a group. Vishimu b'nei Yankov, and he calls them already now by like a third person term, the sons of Yankov. Vishimu el Yisrael avichem, and listen to what your father, when he calls himself by the name Yisrael, not Yankov, what he has to say to you. And then he goes on to give all the famous brachas for the Yankov Avinu, or then all of them brachas, but according to the Ibn Ezra, the Nevuos, that he said in reference to his sons. So comes along Rashi, and Rashi says, what does it mean that Yankov Avinu told them all together, together, and he was going to tell them something, V'agidu lechem. And it's written behemshit to that he will tell them what's going to happen in the end of days. It says Rashi, V'agidu lechem, bikesh legales es hakates. Yankov Avinu required that, or he was looking to, he searched. You can sit over here in the corner over here. Bikesh legales es hakates. Yankov Avinu had in mind, or he was looking for, he was searching, or he was trying, and he had intention, legales es hakates, to reveal the end. That's what it means literally. The word kates means the end. So what does it mean, the end? You have to move further over, so you have to hold your sefer on the table. Yes, you. He wanted to reveal to them the end, literally, of days, or the end. Vikish Yankiv Lekalis is a case. And the Shechina parted from him. So whatever that may mean, but it appears that he wasn't able, or because the Shechina departed from him, he wasn't able to tell them about the case, or legalis is a case, to reveal it, whatever that may imply. But the Shechina went away from him. What's mashma? That somehow or another he'd been zeicher that the Shechina was with him at this particular moment. But he saw that the Shechina went away. And therefore, v'hischil oimer devarim acheidim. And therefore he began saying other things, not to reveal the case. So what are those other things? They're also tremendously stirring, important in Yonim, because he benches and gives brachas, or gives nevuas, in reference to all of his son. About how Legabi, compared to what he intended doing, well, that's already another Indian altogether. And therefore, he turned to another theme after the Shechina left him. So we could say that, why would Rashi say that? Why would he say that he wanted to tell them something, and then the Shechina went away from him and he wasn't able to tell them? That's what it would imply. And then he had to say something else altogether. I mean, what he told them was pretty detailed, a whole series of tremendous nevuahs that he makes towards the son. So I mean, it's hard to imagine that Yaakov Avinu just had all of that, all of a sudden on the spot. He really meant to say something else, and it didn't work out because the Shechina went away. And all of a sudden he said all these amazing brachas or nevuahs to the children. And particularly that he said that without the Shechina, it's not bad going. To say all these inyanim, which they were nevuahs, all sorts of amazing things. Also beneged to Melech HaMashiach, because beneged to Yehuda he brings down about Melech HaMashiach. That's already a long time from where Yaakov is right now. So why would Yaakov want to reveal to them this case, whatever that may mean? He doesn't say what sort of case. He just says that there's an end, a case. And he wanted to reveal it to them. And Shechina, at least, didn't seem to agree with that. The Shechina wasn't happy about that, and the Shechina left him for that reason. Rashi doesn't say why the Shechina would leave him for that reason. What's wrong with trying to be Megala the case? Well, Malo Tov. And why would the Shechina leave him and not given any reason? Now, a similar thing, you're all saying, well, we already had that at the beginning of the parasha. Why would Rashi repeat it again here? So you're all familiar with the fact, having no doubt that you learn Yechidus. When you got spare moments, no doubt that you learn Yechidus in great detail, like Bocher Tamim hopefully very careful to do. To learn Yechidus, right at the beginning of the parsha, in Vayechi Yankiv Beretz Mitzrayim, the Rashi says over there that Lama Pasha Zu Stuma. Why, when the Torah is written in the Sefer Torah, that this parsha, always the Parsha Shavua, Seder of the week, begins where the line runs in and it starts like a new chapter in the writing of the Sefer Torah. I won't go into all the dinim of Sofas here, it's a complex matter, but there's like a new little Parsha chapter begins by going in a few lines. That's called a new Parsha. So usually all the Sedras begin with a new Parsha in the Torah. Or this one, if you've ever been called up to an Aliyah, SHK VeYechi, if you ever got Kohen or somehow or another, there wasn't a Kohen, and you saw that it's not like that. It's right in the middle. It's in the middle of the body of the writing of the Sefer Torah. It's not a Parsha Pasucha. It's called what we call a Parsha Tuma. It's a hidden Parsha. It doesn't begin with any new chapter line. So Rashi said, why would this particular Parsha be like that? Why wouldn't it begin with a new open chapter heading like all other Parshas do? However, Rashi says, Lufi Shekiva and Shanifta Yaakov Avinu, that since the Parsha deals with the passing of Yaakov Avinu, at least in the middle of the Parsha it mentions that Yaakov Avinu passed away, Nistamu Eineihem V'Libam Shel Yisrael, that the eyes and the hearts of the Yidden became closed, they became blocked. Mitzoros HaShi'bud, due to the tzoros of the enslavement, she is chilu l'shabdom, because immediately Yaakov Avinu passed away, then the Mitzrayim began to put the Yidden into slavery. She's chilu l'shabdom. But that's not a thing that happens just from Hayim. El Mocha, we have to say that was already happening in some way in the latter months and time before Yaakov Avinu passed away, that it was already getting a bit, shadowy over there in Mitzrayim, that it was already being revealed to the Yidden that things are not so simple, that there's beginning a matzav of shi'bud, not just stam golos, but even enslavement. Says Rashi, another pshat, shebikish legales is a kates lebono. Yaakov wanted to reveal the kates to his sons, v'nistam mimeno, and he said that's brought down in Bereshis Rabbo. So Yaakov Avinu wanted to be megal the kates to his sons, and it was hidden from him. Nistam mimeno, he wasn't able to continue to be aware of that he should be able to give it over to his son. So here we see right at the beginning of the Parsha that Yaakov Avinu wanted to be megal the kates. There's once again this expression, he wanted to be megal the kates. And he wanted to do it to his sons, but it was hidden from him. He wasn't allowed to know any more about it. And that was already the inin from the Parsha Stuma. That was indicatory of Tzorah. The word is a yid that he could be megal the kates. And he wanted to be megal the kates, and he wasn't allowed to do that. Then that's a inin of darkness and sosum, how they call it, situation. It's a blocked and closed situation, and therefore the Yidden are not in a good matzav. And it's in a matzav of, how do you call it, beginning of a Parsha Stuma. It's an opening of a Parsha Stuma. So the intelligent reader immediately is filled with the amazing question mark above his head, and maybe even in his head, like the famous quip of the Alter Rebbe, that he said that the difference between his putting on tefillin and other people's putting on tefillin. Everybody knows the quip. But the Alter Rebbe said that other people put the tefillin on their head. But by him, when he goes in tefillin, they're also in his head. Well, at least we see there were a couple of sort of rather dismal smiles occurred here and there, so dismal smiles. So we have to assume that at least certain people were kailik the nakuda. Anyway, suffice it to say that Yaakov Avinu, all of a sudden, he wants to be megal and he doesn't have it anymore. Nishtam mimeno. So why did Rashi have to repeat that again over here? Rashi all of a sudden repeats the whole thing over here in a whole very majestic sort of way. The Rashi says here, Bikish Yang the Galus is a cage, and Nistalka Shechina Mimenu. Here the Shechina went away from. Over there, it's mashma that he knew it at the beginning, and it was Nistal was hidden from him. That he couldn't reveal it. So if we look carefully then, maybe we could say, and the Rebbe brings it down on one of his famous sichos on this parasha, that we could say that the difference between this piece and what we just quoted, at the beginning, Yaakov Avinu, he wanted to be megal the kates, and he knew what the kates was, but it was nistam mimeno. At that particular stage, it was hidden from him, and he couldn't get it back. He didn't know what he originally knew. However, in our case, it's written that he wanted to be megal the kates. He must have got it back again. I mean, you can't very well fool people and say, all gather around, I'm going to tell you guys now what is the kates. And all of a sudden say, oh, really, I apologize, I don't really know what the kates is, Mlechatchila. It was nistam mimeni way back, the beginning of the parsha. Is Mamela, we have to say that he got it back again, Yankov, and he did know the case. Who can you doubt? He got it back again. Now he said, well, this time I'm really going to reveal it because sorry, because he knew he was about to leave the world, or at least upon him. Rashi says later in the parsha that Yankov Avinu loy mei. Rashi says without any biur, without any pirush, bli shum davar. Yankov Avinu loy mei. But that doesn't even seem to register by a lot of, not even any dismal signs of surprise on anybody's faces. What does that mean? It means in Parshas, would you mind putting your knee down, please? That it means in Pshut, Shel Mikra, that Yankov Avinu never died. Understand? Auch upon him, Yankov Avinu somehow or another left the scene. He wasn't there like he was before. I'm near there, but you, where does he give in? We have to say that now he does know that he got it back again. Yankov Avinu got it back. Also, now he's got it. This is the moment. Now he's going to be Megale, and all of a sudden, the Shechina disappeared, left it. So therefore, he was concerned that now I do know it, and now I can be Megale. But it seems that if the Shechina went away, then it's not what I should really be saying, and maybe it's not what I should really be doing. And therefore, Yankov Avinu said another nevuah, a whole series of nevuahs. How he said all those nevuahs without the Shechina. So we have to say that there's different forms of Gilui Shechina. And so that, to a certain extent, once he decided that he wasn't going to be Megara the Kates, then there was a certain returning of the Shechina. Well, that would tend to indicate that for some reason the Eibishter or the Shechina, or however we'll say it, they didn't want that it should be Megara the Kates. Whatever that may mean, but Rashi doesn't say what's for our Kates. He just says Megara is our Kates. So we have to assume that Megara Kates means the end. So we mean the end of all days, and that's what he says. Mashi yikra eschem biacharis hayomim, and the acharis hayomim, means the finality of all days. So the Rashi assumes that the acharis hayomim means the finality of everything. So that must be the case. But if we think about it carefully, the case is not the finality of everything. The case is really the beginning. The case is the beginning. Because the Alter Rebbe says in Perek Lamed Vav, and that's the whole point of Perek Lamed Vav, the Alter Rebbe says that the whole world was created for Yemoisha Mashiach and Tchiyas HaMeis. And until then, it's only 6,000 years, beginning from the whole creation. Until then, it's only 6,000 years. After that, it's just going to be Adla Neitzachim, a world of perfection, and a world of Gilui Elokus, until the end of all time. I don't even know when that's going to be. That's brought down in the Sefer VeYechi, the Sefer Tmuna. He says that there's going to be Nun Alofim Yevelis, at least 50,000 Yevels. Well, that's a minimum. Now just think of it, 50,000 Yevels. That's quite a bit of time. That's quite a few years. And that's minimum. And that's only to a certain Gilui and Gilui Elokus. And so the Kates is not the Kates. The Kates is really just about a beginning, if I can. The Kates is the beginning of the emissary history of the world. And that's what he says in Perek Lamed Vav, the Alter Rebbe, Shelakach Nivra Metchilase. It was created from the beginning, and its beginning, it was created only for that. And it should be Yemoisha Mashiach and Tchiyas HaMeis. He wanted to be Megala the Kate, this kind of line. And at the beginning, when he wanted to be Megala the Kate, he lost it, and he got it back again. Right now, the Shechina. What did he do? Who's there? Yeah, what is the problem with being Megala the Kate? So l'chora we could say, and the Rebbe brings it in another sikha, not that sikha I mentioned before, but the Rebbe brings it in another sikha. The Rebbe spoke about Sinyan on many occasions. The Rebbe said, if you go be Megala people to Kate, mainly if it's only going to be a few years away, then people hear the Kate, like the Rebbe says, Moshiach now, here now, everybody takes off and everybody is ready and everybody says, Hine Mashiach Ba, we're all ready and everything tutsa. But if just imagine the time of Yaakov Avinu, if he would really be Megala, when the Kate is going to be, people would have fallen into a years. I mean, what is it doing? You go tell people it's going to be Mashiach in another X couple of thousands of years, and there's going to be all sorts of things in the middle, and they're going to say, people will say, what's going to happen in the meantime? I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't really tell you all the best, it's going to be a bit, different. People fall into years. It's not my time, not my children's time, not my great-great-great-grandchildren's. I mentioned fall into a cheshkas. What is the whole point of being Megala the Kate's Balabachi? He's in the Kuda Yeshbetze. The far, as I want to suggest, the Rebbe is Mefalpo over there, and the Rebbe tells us that in Emerson there was a Kate that was coming, and that was the Kate of Yetziat Mitzrayim. And everybody knew, and Yaakov Avinu just said a few psukim back to where we are now, he said to Yosef that don't worry, he said that the Eibishter, v'hoya elikim imochem, v'heishi v'eschem el eretz aveiseichem, the Eibishter is going to take you back to Eretz Yisrael. So at least they knew they were going to get out of Mitzrayim and go back to Eretz Yisrael. Even that was supposed to be quite a few hundred years. And the Eivishter jumped over, as we say in the Haggadah Shel Pesach and Lepoil, it was only 210 years. But it was supposed to be quite a bit of time. Even that is heavy going. The people know they've got a whole enslavement in Mitzrayim on their head. And that's going to be what's coming. Pele. Yaakov Avinu should be so anxious to reveal the whole Indian Levana. So we could say, once again, what we're going to say this evening is more B'derech Drus, not mamish in the Pshuti Shel Rashi Atzmai, because we could be suggest certain inyanim in Rashi Atzmai, but I want to get to a certain kuda, that if we're going to learn the inyan slightly B'derech HaDrus or B'derech HaPnimiyah, not mamish yuchad purely with that remark of Rashi, but based on it. What's going to happen in the finality of days? Was it a taichet them, as we said? We can taichet mean what's going to happen at the actual time that the normal days will finish, or meaning the days mamish around about the time of the finish of the world at this stage, and that we could call the Kate. Or we could say it's talking about what's going to be after that, and Mamera Adler Neta. But then it would be a different Indian altogether. But no matter how we teach it, the ultimate, what you might call toyelas, is going to be the same. The ultimate benefit of Yidden knowing about this is going to be the same. And that's like this. That Yaakov Avinu, we've noticed on many occasions up till now that Yaakov Avinu was and like that with all the Ovis, of Yaakov Avinu being as he was, the chosen of the Ovis. So I brought down in the Medrash Rabbah and also brought down in the Zohar, Barichas, that Yaakov Avinu was the chosen, he was the highest level, he was Sfiras HaTiferet, with the whole Inyan and all of his sons were Tzadikim Gemurim, that Yaakov Avinu was like the Shleimas, like the Zohar Kodesh says, Shlimu Davuhe, he was like the perfection of all the Oves. We saw that Yaakov Avinu was a very restless Meshachist. That Yaakov Avinu was B'shum Even not prepared to put up with the world the way it was. He was always saying that there's going to be something completely different, and he wanted to bring it, as is Mavur in Drush Chassidus, he wanted to bring the Geula, but he wanted to bring it Milmaila Lamata. He wanted to bring it in. Even the Daves would just sweep everything aside and bring Gilel Akus in the world. And L'chaira, Yankov Avinu had a good reason for holding like that. I mean, in the time of the Ovis, they hadn't really developed the whole Indian of the matzav in the world we have it nowadays, or for that matter, ever since Churban Bayis Sheni, the type of matzav that's been in the world wasn't like that in the time of Yankov Avinu. On the contrary, they were just beginning the whole Seder, and therefore they felt, and particularly Yankov Avinu, that we should make a perfect world now. We should do. What do we need to wait for who knows what and for who knows what? Let's make the world perfect right now. Now, the father Yankov Avinu thought he saw in Yosef the ability to carry all that out, because Yosef was an unbelievable person, that he was l'mayla miha ha'olam legamri k'mavur barichas in Drush Chassidus. He was a neshama from Pnimius Ak. You say da'ach v'chulu k'mavur, and we see that he was completely and utterly unaffected by the whole meaning of being a Mitzrayim, and he was Yosef HaTzadik. So therefore, Yankov Avinu wanted to use Yosef to bring about the perfection of the world already. And we see that when Yosef got into Mitzrayim, next thing he wants to mull all the Mitzrayim. As they bring Rashi way back in Pasha VeYechi, and Pasha Vayigash, Rashi brings it that Yosef, he wanted to give all the Mitzrayim Mila, he wanted to mull them. And they all went to Pari and said, what's that, this guy, he wants to, what are we going to do? He wants to mull all of us. Yeah? And Rashi brings over there that Pari was so dead scared of Yosef that he said, listen, he said, he's done so much, look at what he's done. He said, if you don't listen to him, he might just say that we're all going to die, where he'll just be goys or lane of a namus. And Pari said, this guy Yosef's running the whole show. His mother ain't lechem breder. You have to go and mull yourself. And so that was, the interesting thing is that we say in the Leil Pesach, Leil Seder, on the night time, we say, Hey lach ma'anya, in reference to the matzah, we say, Hey lach ma'anya, and in all the other Haggadahs, except for the Chabadshka Haggadah, it's written, Ho lach ma'anya, with a comment. And we say, Dabke, Hey lach ma'anya, with a atzeri. And it's brought down the time, because Yosef said to the Mitzrayim, Hey lochem zera. And it's put down in the Kabbalah that with that he meant the Indian of the Milah. He meant to kill to sanctify their Zerah by the fact that they have the Indian for the Milah, and he was not really right about that Yosef Kaviyach. It was too early. The Mitzvah weren't ready for such a Gilui, and that caused a certain Yerida in the creation instead of an Aliyah, and therefore every Pesach we say, hey, hey lach ma'anya, that with that hey we're mataking the fault that Yosef introduced into the mitzvah. They state off in Kabbalah. Yeah. And they bring it in the Haggadah Shal Pesach from the Chabad. And we see that Yosef and Yankov, they were always looking to elevate the world and to make it into a world, to make it into a tremendous, we want Mashiach now world. They were anxious not to have to go through the whole terrible Indian of the Golas. And therefore they wanted right now to bring the world to perfection, and whatever would be after that, the Eibusher would find a way. But they were anxious to avoid this whole schlep of thousands of years of gold. On that basis, comes along Yankov Avinu, and he says, you know what, let's be Megaleh let's be Megaleh the Kates. We'll already be Megaleh the Kates. And when he saw that the matzav in Mitzrayim was getting really bad, and therefore he said, yeah, okay, let's be Megaleh the Kates, and that'll wake up everybody, and everybody will be like me, and they'll all say, yeah, what do we need this scholars business? Yeah, here we go, we want Mashiach now, we want the Gula now, we want a perfect world, whatever in the way it should be. Long vergessen die ganze Maße mit Mitzrayim, with the whole Arichas, and the whole Indian, with the So we see that the Eibishter for some time, how you do it, the Eibishter didn't want it that way. The Eibishter first of all hid it from him, and then later, in the case where he wants to be Magal, he got it back again. with tremendous obstinacy. Yaakov Avinu didn't leave his Nakuda. He got it back again. This time the Shekhinah Kila said, no way. I'm not going to give you the necessary Ruach Kodesh, Mea Shekhinah, that you should be able to give over as Amitzot in Begoloi. Legalities that I don't allow you. But Yaakov Avinu was mamish b'teikif ha'arotzen that he wanted yet to be Magal. So we have to understand what's the Inyan here that Yaakov Avinu was so insistent that he wanted to be Megala this Inyan, and that the Eibishter Kilu wouldn't allow it. And there was some other plan, as you might say, in the Bria. So we have to say the following, that Yaakov Avinu wanted to be Megala to his sons that everything they knew up till now, and everything they foresaw, and everything they considered that they were informed, they have to know there's going to be incredibly a much bigger issue involved in all that. Meaning, there is a zicher that Yaakov Avinu's sons, all of them, they knew there was going to be a Tzias Mitzrayim. Like we said, he already said to Yosef, I'm going to take you out and I'm going to take you back to Eretz Yisrael. So your Tzias Mitzrayim, well, that was how they call it, ordinary schora by the Bnei Yaakov. They knew that they were going to get out one way or another, and the idea, and most probably the Eibusha would take them out even before the time, that the Eibusha would help them, v'chulei. However, they also knew, and they were also must speak in the picture and must speak Nevi'im and the foreseers, the Bnei Yaakov, they were all tremendously elevated. They're the Shvatim, they're the source of all the Jewish people. They knew that there was going to be after Yetzias Mitzrayim, going out in Eretz Yisrael, and there would be a Beis Hamikdash, but they knew that there would be a Churban Beis Hamikdash. In other words, they knew that case wasn't really the final case. Now, how do we know that they know? How do we know that they knew that? Because it's written when Yosef met up with Benjamin, it's written, we mentioned it last week, that he fell on Yaakov's neck, on Yosef's neck, and Yosef fell on his neck, and they wept. And so this one was weeping for the Mishkan that was going to be destroyed in Yosef's part, and then Yosef was weeping for the Beis Hamikdash that was going to be in the place of, it was going to be, Nishtalik and Nechrav was going to be destroyed. And therefore Yosef wept on Benjamin's shoulder, on his neck. And then it's brought down in the Zohar Kodesh, why did Yosef weep so much when he went to Yaakov? And Yaakov didn't weep because he was reading the Shema. But the most unbelievable self-control, Yaakov Avinu was reading the Shema, where Yosef wept because of the Shnei Kurbanas. He wept so much. He had to weep double for all the destructions of the Beis Hamikdash. In other words, he knew both the Beis Hamikdash Rishon and the Beis Hamikdash Sheni were going to be destroyed. So Mistama Binyamin also knew that. I mean, it's not Mashra otherwise. Is it Binyamin knew it? Mistama, all the other brothers knew it also. Lamalo. As in Yadu Gamkein. As in Cain, you couldn't come along to the Bnei Yaakov and you couldn't sell them just the gates of Mitzrayim, and that was going to lead to Eretz Yisrael, and then, that was it. That was the most perfect situation. That was the finality of all the divine promises to the Jewish people. Because the Shvatim would say, that's what you have to offer. And we know that after that there's going to be these terrible vinyanim for Churbanim. There's going to be terrible destructions, etc., etc. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu knew that wasn't the case that he could offer to his son, even though it's a case. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chishev as a case. We bring it down in our HaKadosh Pesach. It's also a case. And therefore Rashi just says case. we're not talking about any particular event or Indian, we're talking about our Indian, which is the finality. And so if you would have told the B'nai Yankiv, well, that finality, they wouldn't have bought it. Therefore, Yankiv Avinu had to look for something much more far-reaching, much more profound, something much more atzmizdik, which would maybe convince the B'nai Yankiv that there was still hope for his dream that there's going to be the perfect world, that the Churban Beis Hamikdash is not just the finality, and then we're going to sink back into a tremendous mess of the world, Kol HaGolos, and Mi Yodea Ma Vamu. And if Yankiv Avinu wanted to be Megala, that there's another case. And you might say, what about all the other cases? Been all sorts of people who have had kitchen. And the word where this was bad, and the fire Yankiv said, no, I'm going to be Megala, the Emrus Kate. And you have to know that there is hope, and there's going to be the ultimate Geula, and that gives people an unbelievable takeoff that they can still keep going. Alaf, the disappointment, but again to their etzim inyan, the way they understood it. And what is the secret? What is the nakuda with which Yankiv Avinu bought them by wanting to reveal to them the case, but he wasn't able to do it? But the etzim fact that he wanted to reveal them the case, and we must say that they were aware of that. And I'll soon bring you a whole story in the Gemara that shows that they were aware of it. There's no doubt about it that the sons, even though they didn't hear that there were exactly when the case was going to be, Matai Zeh Mamish, they didn't hear, but they did hear that there's going to be Azam and Sotin. And that Alaf, all the disappointments and the terrible Yeridas for Ka'ita V'zeh, there is going to be a finality, and then it's going to be the way Yankiv Avinu, our father, tells us. It's going to be a perfect world. And if we're going to see that the case is connected with the sword of Yichud, the Inif and Shema Yisrael, Havaya Lakeinu, Havaya Echad, what's L'choira, Hotas Nishki Keshe, one to the other. And there's a famous Gemara, what I've already, years ago, I don't know when it was, I quoted this Gemara, a famous Gemara in Masechta Pesachim, where the Gemara says, what this whole Inyan, but it brings it in a very interesting connection. We'll just read it very Bekita, and it brings down, the Gemara brings down about the Anshe Yerichoi, what they were a whole group of Yidden that they lived in the city of Yerichoi, and they had all sorts of very interesting minhagim, but Nageh to Krishma and Tefillah, and so the Brisa brings down different inyanim that they did differently than what we do, and it brings down that they used to say Shema Yisrael without saying Baruch Shein Feit Malchutzei Le'elam Avoid. They used to just go straight from Shema to V'yohavta, the Anshe Yerichoi. That's called in the Rosh of the Brisa, Hoyu Koyelchim Shema. They used to wrap up the Shema. They used to pass it up. They used to say Shema and straight into V'yohavta. It's brought down in Siddhas. It's a grace of a Matrege, if you could do it. But anyway, that's what they used to do. So the Gemara says, what's this business with Baruch Shein Koid Mal Chusei? Where do we know that there's such a thing as Baruch Shein? What sort of language is that? It's not a pasuk, it's not anywhere. What is Baruch Shein Koid Mal Chusei Le'elam Boeh? So the Gemara says, oh, yours. And it brings a drosha from an Amoira, not a Brisa, no, a statement of Rabbi Shimon ben Lachish. Now you heard about Reish Lachish. You heard about him. Rabbi Shimon ben Lachish is Reish Lachish. And my Mashpia used to say to me that Reish Lachish was a Baal Tshuva. That was a Baal Tshuva. Right? And he was prior to his becoming a Baal Tshuva, he was a bush ranger, if you use the Australian expression. Or he was a renegade, according to whatever they call him in the so-called American language. Or he was a Balon Avenger. Anyway, and he saw Rabbi Yochanan, he saw Rabbi Yochanan in the river, and he jumped from the mountain down into the river with the whole Indian. And he said he wants to learn Torah, and so Rabbi Yochanan said to him, you should jump back again now. And he said, oh, I can't. So Rabbi Yochanan said to him that that's a sign that you've been mekabel the old Torah. כי מי שמקבל עליו אוהל תורה, as nechlas gufa, he becomes wearied and overschwacht. And the Chassidus says that that's not necessarily in his health, but in the nefesh abahamis. But a ganze arichas, ha'inyan, when I get to Reish Lachish, so Reish Lachish was an amazing Baal Teshuvah. So Reish Lachish says, it's written that Yaakov Avinu said, come together and assemble, and I'll tell you, Bikish Yankiv Legalis Lebonov Kate Hayomin. Now that's very interesting. And he says that he wanted to reveal to them the right hand, Kate Hayomin. So I thought the Shana we should do is, Rashi doesn't bring in the Chumash, even though Rashi quotes the Gemara. Rashi says Legalis is a Kate. He doesn't bring the Yomin part of it. When the Gemara is written Kate Hayomin, and it's written that Nishtalab Memenu Shechina, that the Shechina went away from him, and then he said, Oma Yankiv Shema Chas V'Sholem Yesh B'mitosei Psul. He said, maybe my sons, that they come out, they're called mitosi, he said, maybe there's some psu in them. Right? So maybe it's something which is not right about them, because I was about to be Megal the Kate, now all of a sudden the Shekhinah's gone away, maybe something's wrong with the Mekablim, maybe the people are not able to Mekabel, why wouldn't they be able to be Mekabel? Because there's something not right, maybe my children are not worthy children, they got some sort of a pasul in them, and he was very upset. So he says, Chas v'sholem, Kavroham, maybe I'm like my grandfather, that Avram was unbelievable tzaddik, but Yotze Mimenu Yishmael, he had a son who wasn't really worthy. Maybe I'm like that. Maybe amongst my sons, there's somebody that's not worthy. Or maybe like Yitzchak that he had, he's a whole big aricha. Rashi doesn't even mention all that. They heard what was going on in Yaakov Avinu's mind. They sensed what he was thinking, and they said to him, Shema Yisrael. Now they meant, Rashi says that they said Shema Yisrael, they meant, hear our Father, listen here. Please, listen to us. Havaya Lekeinu Havaya Chod. And they said to him, Kishem she'ein b'libcho ela echad, kach ein b'libeinu ela echad. Just like you think the whole time, and your lave, your whole heart is full of echad, by us to say, we're also in union for Echad. Yaakov Avinu heard that. That's how he came up with the. That's how we heard. In other words, who said Baruch Shem Kveit Malchus Le'elam V'ed? Where do we hear such a lashon? Yaakov Avinu Tizkisa. It's not a pasuk. It's not anywhere before the psukim of the Torah. But Yaakov Avinu said Baruch Shem Kveit Malchus Le'elam V'ed. So the Gemara says Kefal. Yaakov Avinu said it. Why don't we say it? So we do, but why don't we just say it normally? Oh, because Moshe Rabbeinu didn't say it. It's not written in the Torah. So you can't say it like ordinary, because you can only say ordinary is what Yaakov Avinu said. So we shouldn't say it at all. Oh, you can't say it not at all, because Yaakov Avinu said it. And what are we going to do? Says the Gemara. So the Gemara says we should say it silently. You say Baruch Shem Kveit Malchus Le'elam V'ed quietly. You just sort of say it very quietly, that nobody should hear, and that's like the pshara that the Gemara reads. It reads it's like a compromise. It reads a compromise that I've never come to that Baruch Shem Kveit Malchus is like a sort of a thing that we, how do you say, we in Yiddish an expression megan v'tarain, we sort of steal it in quietly. We say Baruch Shem Kveit Malchus Le'elam V'ed. Anyway, we see from that. Bring the Gemara a whole mashal. The Gemara says a mashal. We had it in Samavov. You guys are on Samavov. You remember the whole mashal that we had. So I see you got away with it in the end. Is that everybody remembers what we had? Well, those who learned Samavov. We had the whole mashal with CK Kedera, with the Bas Miller, with the whole Arichas Inyanim. Anyway, it appears that Baruch Shem Kveit Malchus was not the same Madrega Mami as Shema. In other words, that the way their Shema and Yankov Avinu's Shema is a little bit, not mamish on the same level. That's how it is in Olam HaBriya, that's how it is in Olam HaAtzilut. But nonetheless, we see that they were holding by Shema. So I thought the show wasn't the kesher. Yankov didn't want to be Megalim the Kate. He said, oh, we ought. And he wanted to be Megalim the Kate Hayamin. So comes along Rashi, and Rashi says a very amazing thing. A Kabbalah, because every now and then you see in Rashi these sort of strange mystical things which are not all that openly kederach hapshat. Kate Hayamin, says Rashi, sheyachzir yeminoi lefono, that the Eibishter will bring his right hand back in front of him. Sheheishiv ochoy yeminoi, because the Eibishter put his right hand behind himself, mipnei oyei, because of the enemies of the Jewish people, and that's what we say in on Tisha B'Av, Rachmani Nitzlan, heishiv ochoy yeminoi, that the Eibishter put his right hand, how do you call it, behind him. So Rashi said, oh yes, that's what he did then, but he said, when it's going to be Keita Yomin, then the Eibishter is going to bring his right hand back in front of him. I wish he'd do it. I saw this on the right hand, it was behind him, now it's coming around in front of him. So it's like this. It's well known from the Rebbe that you can use this expression, the Keita Yomin, you can use it in two ways. Either you can say Keita Yomin with a nun at the end, or you can say Keita Yomim with a mem at the end. Now if you say Keita Yomin, then that means literally the right hand Kate. If you say Keita Yomim with a mem at the end, that means the end of days, the finish of the day. So some people say, Yamin can also mean days, because sometimes you can put a nun instead of a mem. In a slightly poetic way, in plurals, you can put a nun instead of a mem. Now it comes along the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says, no, it's a chilik, it's a difference, because at the end of Daniel, right at the end of Daniel, what he says also about the Kate, he says that he's going to go now and he's going to rest on his menucha ad Kate Yomin, with the nun at the end, Kate Yomin. So the whole big shaila, whether it really should be written over there, Keita Yomim or Keita Yomin, is a whole big deal. In the Ebenezer and other done over there, Al-Chapanim Begola, it's written Keita Yomin. So the Rebbe says, and that's what he says that Rashi is hinting at here, it's a difference. If you say Keita Yomin, that means the right hand. And the right hand is chesed. In other words, that the Kate is going to be Tachlis HaChesed, it's going to be unbelievable, the Gilui of love and Hashpoah and kindness, right hand from the Eibishter. And maybe it'll just be such an unbelievable Gilui Elikus, everything just fall away, everything just collapse, and it'll be Gilui Elikus, and the world will be wondrous. Keita Yomim, so the Rebbe means a plural, days. And plural is his chalkes. His chalkes is midas ha-gevura. His chalkes has got to do with the inyan from gevura. And Keita Yomim means that it'll be v'derech ha-gevura. Whatever, but v'derech ha-gevura. In fact, there's a difference between Keita Yomin and Keita Yom, or Yomim, lefizeh. And there's some people say, I feel a halacha, that there's a big chilik if you say Keita Yomin or Keita Yomim, it's a different, it can have different nafkaminas, even into practical, and believe the hikonis the kola ainin. And if Rashi comes along and mixes in. Rashi says it's written in the Gemara, Davke Keita Yomin. Well, that means that Dave's going to bring his right hand, he's holding his right hand behind his back like as if he's hiding something from us. Like a magician or something that hides from all the audience, and all of a sudden Dave's going to bring his right hand. Keita Yomin, it's going to be Davke mit Chesed, mit Rachamim, mit gewaltige, unbelievable Giluim, b'derech HaChesed. Lefizeh kommt that we could say that Yankov Avinu wanted to be Megala to his bonim to his sons, he wanted to be megaber to them the inif and Kates Hayo, Kates of Chesed, an unbelievable Kilelkus. That's what he wanted to do with them. And all of a sudden in Stauch men Shechina, even that doesn't, the Shechina doesn't even work with that. A young Avinu was tremendously shocked. Something must be out of order here. There's some ball bearing which is not in place. Why is so bad? I'm going to be megaber the case Hayumin Imaroto. He thought that maybe the sons are not good. Maybe the Makablim are not good. And therefore I said, oh no, Tate, it's not like you think. No, just like you hold by Echad, we also hold by Echad. We hold Echad, pick the Zeviti. What's it got to do with it? What's Echad? What's the Shai? What's it got to do one with the other? And the thing becomes more amazing. I forgot it. I meant to bring down there's a Medrash Rabbah here. Amazing Medrash Rabbah. in the Pasha Veschonim, where it's mentioned the mitzvah Shema in the Torah, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. But over there in the Medrash, a very similar story, but with a slight different twist. And it's written that when Yaakov Avinu was about to leave the world, Begolui, he called all his sons together, and he wanted to see that everything was right with them. not he wanted to be megaber the Kate. And he said to them, I'm a bit concerned about you guys, that maybe after I leave that you go off the track. As they state, very amazing thing. And they said, oh no, how dare you think this? Yeah, just like Ein Belivcha, Ela Echad, Kain Ein Belibeno, Ela Echad, Shenem Hashma Yisrael, Avay Elokeinu, and the Medrash, us over there, Mehechan Zochu Yisrael LeKriyat Shema. Where did Yidden have the schus that they got the mitzvah for Kriyat Shema? So all the Meforshei HaMedrash say, what do you mean? You have to go around and ask about 613 commandments, and you have to say, what was schus? How were we taken to that mitzvah? We didn't ask what mitzvahs we're going to get. Dave, she came along Mount Sinai, he gave us all the 613 mitzvahs, and he said, if you guys are not makaber, yeah, Kof Aleim Har Kigigi. I'm going to bury you all under the mountain. You just got to take all the mitzvahs. Kabbalah says, I'm particularly the Shema. The Gemara says, the Mishnah says in Masechta Brachos, Kabbalah says, Shema, you mishma. And if all the Meforshei HaMedrash over there say, what is the type? How would Yidden zeichen to the Shema? They were zeichen to the Shema. It was forced on them. Kabbalah says, Malchus Shemayim. I mean, what I was zeichen to the Shema? A very interesting shaila. We have to say that the inyan of the Shema is such an unbelievable yesod, and it's nogeya to the whole inyan of the Bria, and what is the ultimate purpose of the Bria? The whole Torah and everything, the fact that you didn't got all the other 612 mitzvahs, there had to be something in them, and there was something hidden in them which made them worthy, that they got the ultimate perfection of all the mitzvahs, which is the Shema. And if I was brought down in the Zohar, the famous story, there were two great chachamim were going, they were being Oishev Kesef, Achmas's Kala. They met up with Yenoike, the famous little children that they used to say Nevuos in the Zohar Code. Some people say it was all one child, I would say it was different children. The Alter Rebbe brings it in Perek Lamed Hey, the whole second half of Tanya is built on the Yenoike that he said to the whole Nevuah, which is brought over there in Tanya. Oh, anyway, so they met up with him, and all of a sudden he went, like that at him, and he said, you guys didn't read Krishma today. That's what he said to these two great Chachmei Zohar. And I said, how on earth do you know? We didn't read Krishma today. So he said, why didn't you read Krishma? And I said, well, we're running around from one door to the other getting money for this poor talent that can't go under the chuppah. She's got to go under the chuppah in another day or two, and there's no money, and we've got to get the money. We're busy. He said, oh, I'm terribly sorry. He said, but I can smell a reich in your garments that you didn't say Krishma. So the Rebbe Marash is Mavai and Amayma. They were right 1,000%. They said, is it b'mitzvah, potter in a mitzvah? And we're busy with this unbelievable mitzvah. We couldn't read Kriyas Shema, we're too busy. And we're potter, we don't have to read Kriyas Shema. So he said, yeah, but Kriyas Shema is a different type of mitzvah. Kriyas Shema is the close and the atzmius of all the other mitzvahs. And Mamera, even though you were busy and potter in a mitzvah, that doesn't help like having Kriyas Shema, because if you don't have the klal, you don't have any of the protimeters. He said, if you missed out on Kriyat Shema, even with the best excuse in the world, sorry you guys, but you just don't have the right rayach, you don't smell the right way. So the Rebbe Marash says over there, the rayach is a makif. Rayach is a makif, as well known, the ketera sedin from makif, that surrounds all of your mitzvahs, that's your commitment in a way, mitzad the etzem and nefesh, to everything. That's a union for a makif godel. Remember, they didn't have the makif. The Rebbe Marash goes on to say over there that that's nageya. And every day, if you don't read Krishna bismana, that means that you're missing that makif on the whole day. And the Rizal said that means that there's certain inyonim, no matter what you do, you just can't be mamshik b'isayom at that particular day. As they state, kacha katu. So, by the way, I don't know if it is, but any al chaponim. I said that's the pshat. Yeah, the Hagen Zochu Yisrael. Yeah, how was it they didn't have the schools to get this whole cloud of all the mitzvahs? Inim from Shema Yisrael, the ganze cloud. What made them worthy that they bear that message? That's Inim from Shema. That if Shema Yisrael is the closest in the Yiddishkeit. You know the famous story when the Friedrich Rebbe was fleeing Poland. When he was about to leave Poland. And he was in the big bunker, and there was this terrible barrage was going on for the Yamach Shemon. And they bombed the whole area, and there was a big bomb fell on the top of the bunker. Fortunately, it didn't blow the bunker, but it made a terrible bang and a terrible frightening noise, because a bunker is a big hollow place, and it echoes all the noise. And the Friedrich Rebbe was standing there, and he was surrounded by a lot of Yidden, and they weren't necessarily Shem Reter or Mitzvahs all the time. But all the Yidden who were standing around him all shouted in a loud voice, Shema Yisrael, all of them. As he brings in the Sipur, because Shema Yisrael, the etzem nekuda of a Yid. All the Yidden basin, that's the Yidden of a Yid, Shema Yisrael. Therefore, the Medrash says over there, the Medrash says we have to know how we Yidden zeiche that they got that. All the other mitzvahs ain't no chanami, you can tie that they got them. But they must have been something that made them worthy to be the messenger bearers to the whole world. Ma Yisrael, Havaya Elokeinu Havaya Echad. And therefore, take a look in Rashi, in the Shema. Take a look at Rashi over there, in Pasha V'Eschana. Rashi says, Shema Yisrael, Havaya Elokeinu. Rashi says, Shema Yisrael, Havaya Shu Osi Liyes Elokeinu, Hu Havaya Echad. In other words, Rashi says that the emes gilui of this whole union of the Shema is definitely going to be Moishe Mashiach. And everybody says it's an amazing thing. Rashi, talk about the Shema. It's a mitzvah says in Minatera. Yid reads all through the Gola Shema Yisrael. So Rashi says, no, the emes of Pshat and the Pasuk, Pirush HaPasuk, Shema Yisrael, Havaya Elokeinu, is referring to the Geulah. Look it up. Everybody's eyes show out on stalks of them, Rashi. But Rashi connects the Yinif and the Shema Dafki with the Geulah Shleima. Elamai, from that we see that Ein Chanami, the whole Indian of that Medrash reveals to us, and Yaakov Avinu, according to that Medrash, he wanted to test out and his sons if they really had, and he said, look you guys, if you don't have that, you're going to wander off the track. So he said, how could you possibly dream that? They showed him that they had the Nakuda of that Indian, and Mamera, they also had the Nakuda what the Gemara taught us. The Gemara went through Nebuch to Golas more than what the Medrash Rabbah. The Medrash Rabbah is a Medrash Eretz Yisraelians. And that's from the Chakmei Yerushalmi, and even more from Chakmei Eretz Yisrael Mamish, Muvhak. In Defar Reish Lach is interesting. Reish Lach is, he was a Chaver, Rebbe Yechanan, And Rabbi Yochanan, he was a Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan was the author, Kaviyachal, at the Talmud Yerushalayim. What it comes out is that the Medrash says the whole Etzem in Nakuda, the Gemara that went through Nebuch the Golos in Bavel, the whole terrible Indian of the Yerida to Bavel, the ganze Bilbo, the Indian Agolas, the Talmud says that we have to use that Shema Yisrael, the Galis is Akades. Why is it tight? Because when is it going to be the Emes Akiyum, Shema Yisrael? Dafki Bizman was the time we want Moshiach now. Dafki when it'll be the Gila of Melech HaMoshiach, B'teich HaElam, Kipshutai, then it's going to be the Emes Akiyum at the Inif Shema. What does the Alter Rebbe say on Shari Yichud? He says that Shema Yisrael is Yichude Iloah, right in the little heading at the top. And he says, Baruch Shein Fein Malchus Le'elam, where is Yichude Torah? So Yichude Torah is a coinage, how they call it, it's a evil schleira for the situation of the Golas. Of a Yichude Iloah, well, that's a coinage for the Indian of the world how it's going to be when Mashiach comes. Wujidetayt, the Shema Yisrael Havaya Elokeinu, Havaya Echad means that Hu Levade Hu V'Ein Zelos. There's no Matthias Klau Ein Oid Milvad. Until even the situation that Ein Oid, even without a Milvad. It's just absolutely nothing. Only the Eibishter. Until the Rebbe Rashab writes in several of his Maimorim, and that's a pillar was saying kind of mocking Laharik Bezeh. The difference between the Yichud Milmata Lamaila, the Yichud Milmaila Lamata, the ganze Ariches of Al Chapanim, that the ultimate Yichud, which will be Mizkale, Bisman HaGeula, is that everything is Elikus. That there's not even anything Batil, but it's all Him. Hu Levade, Hu. It's all Mamish Elikus. But that's what's brought down in Siddur, and that's the emes sod of the Yichud, that there's really nothing else apart from Hashem. Everything is Him. Ve'ein oid. There's just nothing else, even without a milvada. And Mamel, if he's that's the sod ha-Yichud. This is the sod ha-Yichud. Now, Yaakov Avinu, he was the one who came up with this whole union of the Sod HaYichud. He was the one that through him it was Miskalim. That really there's no Matthias B'Hoelam Klau. And how was he zeicher to that? He went out to the place of Beis Lavan. So Yaakov Avinu said, you guys want a Golas? I had 20 years of the Golas with Lavan. And that's the most terrible Golas. The Rebbe writes in Masicha that that's even worse than the Golas by Esau. Because Lavan was a bluffer. He was a Ramai. He was every time he said something, he didn't know where he was coming, where was trade, and it was not leaking, he says lies, and you can never know what on earth is going on. Esau, the famous Indian from the Rebbe, that even when Esau said, hey, me Asri, how do you take Maisa from the Melech? At least Esau had a purest possession. He meant something with the Melech. A famous Sikha from the Rebbe. But the Rebbe said that even when he said, how do you Maisa the straw? He meant something with the Esau. He had in mind a shitta. And the Rebbe said it was a Geonish Shaila. The Rebbe mocked Esau for a Goyen. As they state in the Sikha, Geonish Shaila. So I mean, he was asking something about their Esau, the Rosh Hashanah. But at least he had a shitta. He had something. Lavan, you never knew what he had. He didn't have any shitta. All he had was dre, lies and bluff. And that's it. That's the latest shit. That's the world man. And Amos Alad doesn't remember the lies that he told. He can explain what he said or what he did. And I remember that's the whole Inif and Lavan. That's a much more terrible Golas. The Rebbe said that there are 20 years that Yaakov been around by Lavan. Oh, that was worth who knows how many hundreds. And the far Yaakov said, listen, you guys, you want Golas? I already been in Golas. And I didn't waste my time. I was in Golas, and I took all the flocks, and I took all the train, and I was Mavara, and I thought, Mam, Shikivin Elakus, Mio El Machilas. and it's all ready to come down into Biyah. All I need a few people to help me. I can't all do it on my own. We're going to be Megala Atzilus Lamata. What does the Gula claim? We're going to bring it all Lamata Ashab. So he said to Esav, and he said, Herzachan, Bruder Leben. He said, what's going on with you? And Esav just said, and said, sorry, old man, not me. But that's not what he says now. But that's what he said then. So Yaakov said, And Yaakov didn't realize it was going to be a bit tough. And all of a sudden he had his son Yosef, Yaakov. And he said, Yosef, So then he tried with Yosef. Now he sees that that's also going very, very difficult. Now he said, I'll get my sons together. And if I got 12 people like my sons, they're all leading people, and they're the Shifta Yisrael. They're going to be leaders in the world. Now we'll be able to bring the Emersakates. I feel that Yitzias Mitzrayim. No, the Emersakates. We're going to. And the Pharaoh, that's what they said to him. Ein Lechanami Tata, Ein Lechanami. We hold by Pink CVD. So in a way, that was like a Nechama to Yaakov Avinu. He tried to be Megala the case and he didn't work it. At least he knew that there was other people, what they were prepared to carry on the task, and they were prepared to try and be Megala the Emes Yichud in the world, and that would be the Inif of the Gula Shleim. That was the Nechama that Yaakov Avinu had. Kein Yesh Lema. As they come and sagen, B'derech Hefshe. Of a little bit more Pratius Adora, and that is that it's brought down in the Medrash Rabbah. Shame I didn't bring the Medrash Rabbah. It brings over there that when Yaakov Avinu gathered together the sons, and he said, Agidu Lechem, I'm going to tell you. So Rashi said he wanted to be Megala the Kate. There's another version over there in the Medrash Rabbah. Well, the Medrash Rabbah said he wanted to be Megala Lehem Binyan Beis Hamikdash. Also to Shiloh, which Beis Hamikdash did he want to be Megala to them? Because if we want to say he wanted to be Megala to them, the binyan of the first and the second, we just brought down that his sons knew that they were going to be the first and the second Beis Hamikdash, but they knew it was going to be destroyed, Rahman. They already knew that. So I'm sure was from them. What does it mean that he wanted to be Megala to the binyan Beis Hamikdash? He wanted to be Megala the binyan Beis Hamikdash Hashlish. The Medrash brings a pasuk, Vayhi be'achris hayomim, v'nochein yeh beis Hashem, nochein baha yeh beis Hashem. That on the mountain in Jerusalem is going to be well established the base of the Eibishter. Matai be'achris hayomim. The Medrash fits in very well. He wanted to be Megala the Mashi yeh be'achris hayomim. And Father Medrash says that means the binyan Beis Hamikdash, Zokto there, the 8 years of the Medrash, Eiz a Beis Hamikdash Ashlishi, Ha'osid Lihibonei, was going to be built in the future, or that's what he wanted to be Megala to them. Well, if he's Ekum Tois, it wasn't just the case that Yaakov Avinu wanted to be Megala, that's like the end, but that's only like we pointed out at the beginning of the class, that's only the beginning of something. And that shitta in the Medrash Rabbah, well, that tais is an under tais. And it says the not bikish only legalis is a kate. Because a kate itself is just a soft. It's a soft of one thing, but it's the beginning of the emes. And he wanted to be Megala to them, the secret of everything, which is going to be the binyan Beis Hamikdash. Well, that's going to come as part of the kate. That'll be part of the kate. That'll be part of the finish of the over. There'll be a inyan for nochein Beis Hashem Baha Ad Lanetzach Neitochim. That's going to be built indestructibly on the mountain forever. In other words, that Achris Hayomim on all those inyanim don't just mean the etzem finality of the Golas and the beginning of the Gula. They mean the whole matzav, how it's going to be Le'achrim Mizeh. Therefore, the Medrash Rabbah stresses this whole inyan of the Shema Yisrael. That was the whole inyan between Yaakov and his sons, was managed with the etzem minyan of Shema, the etzem mahus atzmas of Vayir, the Shema Yisrael. And that was the base, and that's the Gila. It's going to be Le'achri Beis Hamikdash. And together with the Beis Hamikdash, V'tayna Tosa, will be the inen of the killer of ein oi. There is nothing else. Rach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ein oi milvado. And the Medrash Rabbah stresses that the whole thing had to do with Shema, because that's the key and that's the secret of what's going to be Nocha in year Beis Hashem Le'achrei. It'll be the Gila Shlema. It'll be the Yin from Beis Hamikdash. So just before we finish, I say, at Mosai he's going to go on out with something else, but I have to say it because I have a certain chiyuv that I had a bar mitzvah ma'anikel this week. And it was Davki B'Leil Asara B'Tevis, he went to Suda. That was L'chera Yesh L'Hisreira. That's a little bit of a shayla. Al Pidin, how can you make a Suda Sameach Kokach in the night before Tainis? Was saying L'chanami over L'a'ido Kisa. L'chera, the Se'inim for the Yehovchu Hayom Imayel L'Sosen L'Simcha. And somebody brought me a printed piece out of a sefer where it's written that the Tzemach Tzedek married off his eldest son. The Rabbi Shnizal became later the Kopshter. The Moginovi, he wrote the famous sefer, the Moginovi, he married him off on a Sora B'Tevis, the Chuppah Hoyes of a Sora B'Tevis. So, Eina Chanami, you can title the Chuppah, he gave a Sora B'Tevis, and the Suda was the night after. Yeah, das kannst du teilen, aber auch machen die Chuppah Sora B'Tevis. Is a simon that yesh inyonim begoy, that there's a inyan somehow or another. Yeah, they say, why did Chassidim on Tisha B'Av they used to throw buchel at one hour? You know the ones. Nowadays it's out of hand. Nowadays they let them get away with it too much. But in the old days they used to throw buchel. The big Chassidim used to throw buchel one at the other. You know the ones with Shmuel Monkit. That there came Reb Shlomo Kalinach, and he was a great, I show him not to make any fun of a great tzaddik. And Reb Shlomo went up to him and he threw a bukel at him. You know the story? Yeah. That was Tisha B'Av. Now I remember, people say, what on earth, throwing bukel at one day, what's it? So it's written that one of the Talmud is that Chassidim could never really take the Churban Beis Hamikdash mamish absolutely to the end. There's no thing as a tiniest which is remembering the Churban of Beis Hamikdash. There must be some litzana. There must be something that we can poke fun at because we're really going to the Guru. It has to be a Dova Sameach, which shows that we're not in the Golas. We're nicht in the Pech. That's the reason why it is that on Tisha B'Av, Chassidim used to throw bukel at one of the other. Remember the same with the Sora B'Tevis. Anyway, they say let him finish off with all that. We're all wondering when are we going to double Mariv around here. So the idea is that the Bar Mitzvah boy, his name is Chagai Yosef. His name is Chagai. Chagai is the name of one of the latter prophets. One of the latter prophets. And he's really from the latter prophets. There was three of them, Chagai, Zechariah, and Malachi. They were the three last prophets. And so they were on the Anshe Knesset Gedela. And they were from those that came back from the Golas of Achashverosh. They came back from the Golas in Babel. And they came to Eretz Yisrael. And they were involved in and around the building of the second Beis Hamikdash. So the political thing is written over there. There's only 2 chapters. The whole Nevuah, there's 4 Nevuahs over there, 2 little chapters. Chagai is very, very small sefer, very, very, very small. And so if you look up over there, it's very fascinating. Which is the idiom from Chagai, and what is he talking about? He is from the people who came back from the Golas. What happened in the Golas was that there was one good king, he was called Cyrus, they call him Kairah. He was, the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah, that at least part of the time he was a melech kosher. He was alright, sort of thing. He wanted to send the Yidden back to start building the Beit. He actually sent some Yidden back. He sent back Zerubbabel ben Shaltiel, as he's called, even though the Gemara says that his father's name wasn't Shaltiel. Anyway, he went back to the Yotzor with a few other Yidden, and they started actually setting out the foundations and started rebuilding the Beis Hamikdash, and all of a sudden there was all these Rahmanin troublemakers and Mars and they complained. The so-called Tzionim, they complained. They complained to Kairish, what's the Mars with the Beis Hamikdash going to do it? What does he do it? So he said, all right, well, he don't want you guys, okay, stop it. And he stopped. And the Malchus Achashverosh, he wouldn't let them start building the Beis Hamikdash. That was his wishes. The V'yayta the Achashverosh. And Ad Kedei Kach, that he thought that the 70 years of God was already finished in his time, and he saw that he's stopping them from building the Beis Hamikdash. So he thought there's not going to be any return of the Yidden to Israel, and that's why he made a whole big feast. That was one of the reasons he made that feast. Just imagine, you went to that feast and you were Nana Misuda, Russia, that the whole Simcha was because the Beis Hamikdash never was destroyed. It's not going to be built. Just imagine what's for a matzah to secure. That was his whole big Simcha. That's why he wanted to beat the group. He was a pachta. He was a coward. And why did he bring it? Because he was certain now that everybody told him, the 70 years apart, he wouldn't dare touch those God in the big day Kahuna Gedela. If he was too scared. Maybe the Abishai might eat him up from heaven, or maybe there'll be a bolt go out from heaven and knock him off. And a pagan enough and plats. And the far he was that scared when they convinced him that, the 70 years have all gone by, forget it, they're never going to leave the Goddess now. They said, great. So he pulled out and he started schwitzing with the big day Kahuna Gedela. As they stayed in the Gemara Masechta Megillah. It was a terrible time. Come to Cain, Chagai Hanavi, and he went back to Eretz Yisrael, and he said, Pink Fakir. And he said, when Achashverosh died, when Taveki Paget, Achashverosh, the Russia, there came a king called Darius, and he called Dariovich, he's called. He came on, and the Medrash says in Vayikra Rabbah that he was Esther's son from Achashverosh. That really this Dariovich was a Yid, and he was with the son of Esther Hamalka. So one of the first things he did, interesting, in his reign, he said, what's going on with this business in Eretz Yisrael? Years ago they were told they can rebuild the Jewish. What's happening with the Beis Hamikdash? Why aren't they building the Beis Hamikdash? And he sent a Mafurish letter that the Yidden should be given the permission to build the Beis Hamikdash. And that's exactly when Chagai Hanavi was in Eretz Yisrael. And Chagai Hanavi said, even before that letter came from Dariovich, he said, listen guys, we've got to get together. Don't worry about not the king of Persia, not anybody. Don't look at anybody. Don't listen to anybody. Let's get together and build the Beis Hamikdash. So it's a whole big shayla. Allah ties to build the Beis Hamikdash. All the Yidden are not here. Some of them, a lot of them, most of them are involved. Only a few people that do it. All the many shaylas and all the many do's. Nonetheless, that's what Chagai Hanavi said. He said, let's build the Beis Hamikdash. And he said, let's get together and we'll take stones and we'll take and we'll build the Beis Hamikdash prepare. And the Father Rambam says that the Kinyan on Eretz Yisrael of Bayis Sheni was a stronger Kinyan even than Bayis Rishon, because the Yidden did it with their own hand. This is called a Kinyan Chazak. It's an amazing thing. The Rambam knows that that's a much stronger Kinyan in Eretz HaKodesh than in Bayis Rishon. Anyway, so Chagai Hanavi says, listen, you guys got to build a business. And the amazing thing is that he says over there on Avua, that he says, look here, he said the reason why there's no real crops here in Eretz Yisrael and things are not going well, and when you guys sow, you don't get back all you should, is because there's no Beis Hamikdash. He said, Berega will have the Beis Hamikdash, you'll see that you'll sow a little bit and you get tens and tens times more, hundreds of times more than it. So he said that the whole secret of everything, Vayidin, that they're L'mayla Me'ateva, and that everything just goes Vayidin completely in another area, you've got to have the Matthias of the Beis Hamikdash. And if there'll be the Beis Hamikdash, you'll see that everything will change, and that all those promises which are given about Eretz Yisrael, there'll be such a wondrous place, and all the things will happen in Eretz Yisrael. If you build the Beis Hamikdash again, then it'll start happening. That's what he says, Chagai. In other words, that if you have the Metzias at a Beis Hamikdash, you have B'der Mamela Hakoil, everything in the most wondrous Oifan. But if you don't have the Beis Hamikdash, then it's not going to be like that, ever. And he said, Melech, let's get moving and build the Beis Hamikdash. Prepare. And all of a sudden, he says a Nevuah, and he says, Godel yeh habayis hazeh ha'achrein min harishon. That this bayis is going to be bigger and better than the bayis harishon. So Rashi and the Radak and the Marikro and all the great Mechot Ibn Ezra, they all tied. So with that, Chagai Hanovi meant the one that they're trying to build now, the Beis Hamikdash Sheni, and the Beis Hamikdash Sheni is going to be bigger and better and nicer and more older, another 10 years longer than Beis Rishon. And every Godel year, there's a machlekes in the Gemara, Godel b'shonim or Godel b'vinyan or b'yoifi, although it's going to be bigger and better than the Beis Hamikdash than the Beis Hamikdash Harish. That's how all of them learn over there. Again, the amazing thing is the Metzudas David, what he said, the Metzudas David always learns just the pshat, like he pushes it, even more than right. This is the absolute push, the pshat, the pasuk, and he says, no. He said, even though Chagai is talking about building the Beis Hamikdash Sheni, and he said, this is going to be better than the Beis Hamikdash Rishon, he means the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. That when he said God years there Beis Hazeh Yesu Min Harishon, he meant the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. As he stated in the Metzudas David. I just chilled out and stuff. So of course we look up the Sefer of the Mishachis, one of the biggest Mishachistim that's ever been in history, the Abarbanel. So the Abarbanel Yidua, he's given a Moyandik Mishachis. He wrote a Sefer called Yeshua's Malcha, a big Sefer, this thing, only about yeah. Anyway, Abarbanel says, absolutely for sure. He said, nobody knows any pshat. He said, the only pshat in that pasuk that is referring to the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. And he slugs all the other arguments. He's a whole big long piece. He pilpers away. He said, no, it only means the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. So, you might say, well, when is this going to finish? I don't know. But anyway, what happened was that the Frierdiker Rebbe came on a visit to Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe came in Pei Tes, he came on a visit to Eretz Yisrael. And he was here during the 9 days. He was here in the Tisha B'Av, as they come into Tofarish Pei Tes. And he was invited into the yeshiva, the Lubavitch yeshiva in Yerushalayim, Teres Emes, and they brought him in, Pasha Veschonen, Shabbos Nachum, immediately after Tisha B'Av. And they said the Rebbe is going to say a Maimon Chassidus. So he said a very long Maimon Chassidus, and it's based on that pasuk, Godel yeh habayis hazeh ha'achrein min harishon. And the Rebbe brings over there that it means the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, and he says not only it's written in the Metzudas David, it's stated in the Zohar Kodesh. He brings a Mefurish Zohar in Bereshis, it's written clearly that pasuk is referring to the Bayis Asida Lihibones Alidei Melech HaMashiach. That's referring to it, and it says the difference is that the Bayis that they built, that Chagai Novi was talking about, that was built Alidei Bnei Adam. And that is a tremendous smile. That's what the Rambam says. It's called a Koyach HaKinyan Otzum, but it's called a Kinyan Chazokah. Of a Sokosov, it's a Binyan Alidei Bnei Adam. It's got miles in halacha, but so it's Alidei Bnei Adam. The Beis Hamikdash Shlishi is durch the Eibeshter. Who yibnes a Beis Hazeh? As they state, that's Chagai Hanovi. That's Zizika Nevuah when they get to the Beis Hamikdash. So Abarbanel says that he was talking about the Beis, and he was doing the Eibeshter's Ratzon, and he said we're going to build the Beis Hamikdash. We have to have the Beis Hamikdash. He was Moise Nefesh for the Beis Hamikdash. At a far he got the Nevuah. Dafki through him came the Nevuah about the opinion of the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. That even though he started talking about the Beis Hamikdash Sheni, he was zeicher that through him came the whole dibur of the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. Purely plus von a man. Am Ende sagt the article in the Chagai Novi, he says that if there'll be the Beis Hamikdash, it's time for the ganze Welt, everything is time Sholem and good and alles, Shefa, Gedul, Korah. It's am Ende Simon that without the Beis Hamikdash, the world is a half a world. It's gone. And Shlomo that the Iker Tzoros that we're suffering now, all the Tzoros, all these wars and all these bombs and the old thing, because these idiots took the Mokim and the Mikdash and they gave it into the hands of the worst terrorists in the whole world. And they said that they are the Balabatim over that part of the world. And that is Mokim, Hamikdash, and that is Belishum Sofik and Lefi the Rambam. It's the same Kedusha as what it was Binyona. Exactly the same Kedusha. The Raiva differs with that. Al Kapanim as they held the Rambam. And comes again the Yidden, and they give it into the hands of Rotzkim, of murder. And therefore, Mishum Zeh Yesh Kol HaTzorah. While after Mokim HaMikdash and Sheltim, Goyim, Tmeim, Arurim. And they are Shelah Dortnim, Mamela, that's why all the time, the Fafal, the Bomber Hin and the Bomber Her and somewhere else, but it's the Nishto, the Beis HaMikdash. In Mamela, that's why America's in Goyim, that's why there's how do you call it, Mitun, how do you say Mitun, depression in the whole world. Somebody gave me a few Australian dollars. Yes, there was a very nice man. He gave a donation. The yeshiva, I cashed the Australian dollar. It's worth about 2.5 cents or something. She gone it. Mamish are up in the air. Not worth a penny. And the same with the English pound, with the other masses, or the other things that they were good. And they, once upon a time, everybody thought, oh, yours, or this. Mamish gone is not worth. Mamish penny. Shum Dor Shabbat. Maar we were tijd, van woens waren de Beis HaMikdash niet door. So if I noch an it was Golas, the Goyim said that the Beis HaMikdash niet door. Tzoros. Ik go is Tzoros over soft kosof. It's not necessarily Tzoros true is in the etzem pocket of the Yidden, which is Eretz HaKodesh. But in Eretz HaKodesh, the Yidden themselves say no, it belongs to the Rotzkim. And didn't give the Mokim HaMikdash into the hands of the Rotzkim. There's a Heiper Chagai Anovi, Heiper Kol Anovi, Heiper Kol, and Yonim Amir, the Tzoros through it. They're born, they go over there into Aza and they hit them all up. What happened today was also they started in some other place from bombers. In other words, it's like running around the other place. It's like the of the man standing in a pit, and there came water into the pit, and so he put his finger over the hole, right? And all of a sudden start coming in another place, so he put his finger over that hole. Now start coming in a third place, he's got no more fingers. What's he going to do? What do you with that? Yeah? And I remember the same thing here, they start bombing the south, they all go down to the south. Now start bombing the north, they go running up to the other edge. Very good. That's it. Because there's no Beis HaMikdash. That's what Yagivin, Bikish Yagivin, and the Medrash Rabbah, but this is the Chachma Eretz Yisrael, or they say Bikish Legales Binyan Beis HaMikdash. That's why the Rebbe said that without the Beis HaMikdash, forget it, the Sigonish, Ein Malcha, comes again, Chagai Anovi, and Chagai Anovi said, build the Beis HaMikdash you can. Get out of your Hedikud. Get off your excuse me and build the Beis. Azoi Shteitot. He says, get up and build the Beis HaMikdash. He said, I'm prepared to help. Me or there if he didn't actually help. Get off. That's what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe says, Yidden go only for one only thing. Build Beis HaMikdash. As eine Beis HaMikdash, dein Beder Mamela Kola in Yonim and Beshefa Haki God Lafila for the Goyim. It'll be best for the Goyim. It'll be best for everybody. But only give all your koyches to build the Beis HaMikdash. And that's the pshat. According to the Medrash Rabbah, that's the pshat that he was bikish legalis. What's going to be bisman uleachre? Because the case is only a star. It's not a film. And if Rashi doesn't say what's far a cage, Rashi says cage. Because a cage implies a middle point. A cage implies up to here end, but it also implies a new beginning. Chas v'sholom, there's no idea. They thought in the old days you walk to the end of the earth, you fall off. There's no such thing. You don't come to the end and just fall off. You come to an end of that, you start a whole new beginning. A whole new beginning. This is the beginning for the Yemais HaMashiach. Yidden, give away, forget everything. Let's get busy building the Beis HaMikdash. Let's obey the Rebbe. Let's know that that's what the Rebbe said. If anybody persuades you that that's all what the Rebbe said, then, you just have to say, sorry, Alecha Bracha, and allowed to be not ba'aktis with him, but you just have to politely disagree with him. You have to say the whole Indian of the Rebbe was binyan Beis Hamikdash, bitish Yankiv Legalis as a kate. The Mamera as is a time toiv al kol or ilam kuli of kol inyonim aki nailim will be miskale, and then but there are Mamera, if you want peace, or they'll have peace. Aber nicht peace at the Indian yet. The Indian is live nice. Noch ein year habei ze Bahar, Omen, Ken Yehi.
Mashiach, let him fly.